And we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Be Relentless podcast. I'm Isaac, I'm your host. And if this is your first time tuning in, hey, welcome aboard. And what I do here is I own a gym. I'm a trainer by profession. And so we have a bit of a fitness podcast here. I work with the fitness, I work with nutrition, but I also do a lot of mindset stuff. I think that's the number one thing, honestly, is the psychology and the mental development aspect of it, because that's what carries you all the way through. And so we touch on a lot of those things in our podcast here. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, welcome aboard. And if it's not, then I guess I'll see you later. So this is kind of a reboot, revamp. We're just I'm getting back into it. And I'm also trying something a little new. I got the camera going. So we're actually have a YouTube version of this. So I've got that kind of going. Might distract me a little bit, kind of getting used to that. But I'm sure it'll be a good one. And today, just to kind of kick this off, I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit of a journey that I've been on since the springtime over the summer. As a matter of fact, it's been, as of today, 217 days, 31 weeks. And what I've done is I've done some sort of outdoor cardio, which, coming from a powerlifting, strength, football, athletic type background, the whole cardio thing is not my jam. So that in and of itself was kind of an astonishing thing. But I've done some sort of outdoor cardio every single day, rain or shine, because I live in Maine, so snow, sun, heat, all that good stuff, every single day for the last 217 days. And the streak's still going. And I don't know when the last time I did anything straight for 217 days was, except maybe brush my teeth. You know what I mean? So this has been kind of an interesting journey for me. And, just wanted to go through it today. I want to go through kind of what prompted it, but also mostly the stuff that I've learned and the benefits I've had from it. And, there's been a few little things that haven't been perfect too, but, we'll kind of get into that. So, basically, when I first started this, it was March 7th, and, it was the day after my grandmother's funeral, which has a kind of a bearing on it. It wasn't like this like major like event, like, oh my God, she passed away and it changed my life and stuff like that. I mean, it was unfortunate that she passed away, but she was 99. She had a great life. But, I kind of was in a low place at that point. I had just mentally, spiritually, everything. I had kind of had, I was kind of in a really low place. Some business struggles, some relationship struggles, not training because of some injuries. So I was out of shape. I was feeling super fat. I was super fat. Everything hurt. Too much shitty food, too much alcohol, too much stuff like that. And just kind of, I was just in a bad place, kind of, bottom trough of depression. And I needed to do something. And I knew that I needed to do something. I was having my third kind of like self-crisis, I guess, of my life, so to speak, which I'll probably talk about more in depth in other podcasts. But it was kind of like the bottom. And I was like, kind of reached the point where I was like, I need to do something and change my life and change where the track I'm on, or I probably am not going to be here. And if I am here, it's going to be in a very bad place. So at that time, one of the guys I listen to a lot of stuff from on his podcast, I recommend, if you're in the business space, or even if you're not, is Andy Frisella. He's the CEO of First Form. He has his MFCEO podcast, which is amazing, is awesome. And he had put out this challenge he called the 75 Hard Challenge. And basically, it's just like adhering to a super strict nutrition program, water, exercise, this whole thing. But it's more about mental toughness and consistency. And one of the things that I had been preaching a lot and have preached a lot to my clients, with great success for a lot of my clients, is developing consistency, developing habits, and building these habits. And I had really gotten in kind of like the brain stuff from the habits and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, the truth of the matter was that I wasn't living any of those habits myself, or I wasn't. I didn't feel like I was anyway. So it felt like I was talking out of both sides of my mouth, so to speak, where I was telling my clients to do this stuff and it was working for them, but I wasn't going through it myself. And whenever you're in a state of, whenever you're in a place where your personal situation, your personal actions are not living up to your internal integrity, I think that that's where you're really going to struggle, and you're going to feel like life is running you, and you're going to feel like, you just want to hide, and you want to basically like keep your shame hidden from the world. And that's where I was at. So I was like, okay, well, I need to do something. And so one of the basic aspects of the 75 hard is you need to do something outside, every day for the 75 days is what they do. It's his plan is 75 days. And so I was like, well, screw it. It's cold. It's shitty. I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. I'll do it. And so that's what I did. I started doing that. And basically, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but if your action is most frequently caused by avoiding pain, that's what overcomes inertia and overcomes that being stuck feeling, is escaping some sort of pain. And I was in a very deep place of pain. And eventually it transitions into seeking pleasure, which is where I'm at now. But at the beginning, a lot of times it's the pain that does it. And, so that's kind of what it was. I kind of hit my rock bottom, like I said. And I said, okay, well, I got to do something. And right now I'm so out of shape and I'm so, not conditioned for anything. I'm just going to start doing some walking. I'm going to start doing something active outdoors. And so that's what I did. And quite frankly, I remember the first time I went for a walk, I made it like 2 miles maybe. And it was hard. Like, it wasn't like I can't do it, but like I got, a little winded. My heart rate went up, stuff like that. I was like, this is pathetic. I literally I'm a performance coach. I'm a personal trainer. And my fat ass can't walk 2 miles without getting winded. So that wasn't good. Next day I woke up, my knees hurt, my shins hurt, my feet hurt. And again, this was like, I was like, this is unacceptable. Like, so that pain, I allowed myself to live in that pain for a little bit. I allowed myself to get angry with myself, not just from being the slug that I had been, not just for allowing myself to descend into that, but that it was even possible for me to get there. And that's where I kind of found the energy at first to push forward. That was my resolve. And so I knew that I had to create a basic habit. So I needed to have a trigger, which was, in my case, it was just a matter of asking myself every day, did I do my cardio or not? That was my triggers. I knew that every day I was going to ask myself that cardio. If I'd wanted to do it better, I probably would have had a specific day, or I would have set a specific alarm on my phone or something like that, something that was a very specific trigger. I didn't do that, but I probably should have. And then once you have that trigger creates that craving. It creates that like, okay, I've got to do my thing, whatever my thing is. And in this case, that would have been, I would have felt that need, that craving to do some cardio. So, my reaction, which is where I'm at now, my reaction is to do that cardio, do that work. And then I get the reward, which is, in my case, it's now the positive, like check off, I did it. Hey, I've done something to make myself better, something like that. And I tell myself that's a positive. At first, sometimes you got to kind of manufacture that a little bit because, your brain might not always recognize it as a positive. So, but that's kind of what I started to do. And so basically I started building that habit. So day after day, I would do something. I would do some cardio. I would, eventually I built into running. I built into ruck marching with a heavy backpack, loaded backpack, stuff like that. So I built into different things, but enough to check off that basically what I call cyclical movement. And at first, there was a lot of struggle. At first, there was a struggle because, you're trying to introduce a new habit that takes time. Quite frankly, it takes time. You need a location, and you need like stuff like that to be outside to do these things. And so, if you're a busy person, which I was a miserable busy person, but I was a busy person. I've got to create that time. So that was a struggle. So I had to give myself a minimum threshold for success. That was a big priority to me, and that's something that I had kind of always downplayed a little bit with other people, and but now has become crucial. It's become a number one thing for me. Is that minimum threshold of success where what do I have to do to just basically check my box and say that yes, I did it. And in my case, it was get out there and spend about 15 minutes just doing some walking, doing something was enough for me to check the box. Now, I'm not saying that's all I did. At this point, usually I do close to an hour. But if I'm super busy or if something's happening that day, I know that I can give myself that mental checkbox. For you, that may be, doing one push-up. It may be just something super easy. You want it to be almost so easy that you can't not do it. You can't justify to yourself why you're not going to do it. And I found that very rarely will you just do that. Like, if you get down there and do one push-up as your checkbox, for example, I do like to use this example, then very rarely will you just do one push-up. You know what I mean? And certainly you're not going to do it day after day. You're not going to keep doing just one push-up. So you're always going to find yourself doing a second one. You're going to, so it makes it a very easy way to kind of build and to recognize and stack that you did those things. That was the other big thing. One of the big things I learned is the importance of recognizing what a small victory is and what a victory is, and just in general is being able to say, okay, hey, maybe today I did just do the minimum, but that's a win. Like, for example, I posted about this on my Instagram at the time. I remember there was a day, excuse me, where I had gone out to I'd visited my father. My father lives about an hour and a half away. And I'd gone to visit and I'd gone to work on my truck at his place a little bit. And I'd had the opportunity to do my cardio in the morning before I left, and I chose not to because I just didn't get my shit together and do it. So, working on the truck, and I should have seen this coming, but working on the truck took way longer than expected. It was in, it would have been mid to late March at that point. I was only a couple weeks into it, I remember. So it was still it wasn't a habit yet. And so it was very tenuous. And I knew that if I missed a day, I was going to be screwed. So, I'm coming back to the house. I'd finally gotten my truck fixed, but now it's like 8:30 at night, which in Maine means it's been dark for about 4 hours. And it was cold as hell. It was like just frigid. And I was like, shit, it's 8:30. I've still got 45 minutes of driving. I haven't done my cardio yet. This is gonna suck. And I saw, as I was coming through, there was a truck stop nearby where I drive by, and it has big parking lot, big truck parking lot. So I was like, well, shit, I gotta get gas anyway. So I got gas, swung in, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it right now. So I pulled out of the gas pumps, pulled in a parking spot, and I walked for 15 minutes in that parking lot, just doing laps. And now that is like the lamest version of cardio ever. I totally accept that. But what it did do is it kept me going. It kept me going my streak, and it made me be able to check off the box. I froze my ass, so it was not the easiest in the world. And it made me check off the box to say, you know what, you're still on track. You still did the thing. And I think that was like the turning moment for me. That was where it really changed. It's like, okay, well, if you can do that, then there's always a way. There's always a way to do it, and always a way to keep the streak going. There's always a way to make this happen. And so, like, for example, I went to a seminar a couple weeks ago, and this was the seminar was in New Hampshire, so it was about a 4-hour drive. And I knew that we were going it down and back, so it was going to be it was going to be a long day at the seminar. And I was going to be basically there the whole time. I wasn't going to be able to do it in the middle of the day. So I knew that, this was going to be a very hard thing to do and get everything squared away. So I got up even earlier than usual. Excuse me. I got up even earlier than usual. And at 3:30 in the morning, I'm out there with the dog doing cardio, doing fast laps in the driveway, quite frankly. It's 3:30 in the morning. It's in the woods in Maine. It's kind of cool. It's coyotes are on each side of the driveway, like yowling, stuff like that. It was kind of gnarly. It was pretty cool. But it was at the same time, it was another one of those moments where it's an opportunity for me. I could have stayed in bed and just chalked up to a busy day and said I don't have time, or I could get out there and make it happen. And that's something that I made the conscious choice to do, but that reinforces that habit. So now, quite frankly, I don't really have to plan it in my day. I just know that at some point I'm going to go get my cardio done, and it's just a thing. And as far as like results from that go, I've lost a whole bunch of weight, so that's always good. Um, and but quite frankly, it's rippled into the rest of my life in that my conditioning is better. So fitness wise has been awesome. All that stuff's good. My joints don't hurt nearly as much. My conditioning is better. I'm not winded all the time. But really it's been more about the mood. Just that cyclical exercise, like, good from a depression point of view, something like that, all that type of stuff, movement, control your energy. And, the reason I like being outside is outside is good, but B, like, you're moving forward. So sometimes if something's bothering you, something's not, something's a bad feeling, something like that, you can kind of leave it in a place and you can keep moving. And you always feel like you're progressing, you're moving in a forward direction. And that's where, don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with treadmills, there's nothing wrong with stationary bikes, there's nothing wrong with that type of stuff. But I think that sometimes that type of stuff misses it. You can't just leave it, it's just kind of dwelling in it. So being able to be outside and move has been phenomenal. But really is the learning of the system, the learning of how to build a habit, the self-discipline and the confidence that comes with that, and being able to stick to something for this long and being able to do things has been absolutely incredible from a confidence perspective for me. It's allowed me to, continue to, now I feel like I can speak with authority. I feel like I can speak with authenticity to my clients, to the people I'm trying to help. I feel like I've been there. I've been through the hard times when I didn't want to do my shit. I've been through the hard times where I felt like the world was going to close in on me, and where the world was closing in on me because I wasn't living with authenticity. So now I feel like I can speak to that better. I can speak to, how to do it. I can speak to the act of like one small thing continuing to grow and build and change the rest of your life. All that type of stuff is like it's made me a better coach. It's made me more empathetic to that. It helped me kind of build all those things. So that's been a tremendous, tremendous thing for me. Quite frankly, my life is so much better right now because of it. And I chalk it up to this. I chalk it up to not so much just the physical act of doing cardio, again, which is helpful, but I chalk it up to the mental aspect of continuing to build that streak and do the things and that type of stuff. Moving forward, I'm going to keep the streak going. It's, in the middle of winter in Maine is an experience for those of you that don't know what it's like. So there may be a time where I don't go outside, I don't do stuff outdoors. Quite frankly, that may be a thing. I kind of am not, I'm sure that first day that I break the streak, I'm going to feel bad about it. But at the same time, like I don't feel super stressed because I feel like I've gotten the education I need from it. So I'm going to keep it going, but it's not as much of a crisis there. But the interesting thing that I've kind of noticed from it is, again, that's brought some of these principles and a lot of this stuff that I was teaching and I sort of understood and I learned from it and I got from an academic point of view has kind of crystallized into something real now, which is incredible. Is that I've made a transition to where I'm no longer running from pain. Like I'm not in a place of pain. Don't be wrong, like life isn't perfect. There's always ups and downs. But I'm not in a place of pain anymore. I'm not in a place where every day I hate waking up. Instead now, like, things are better. Like every day things are good. Things are moving forward again, and I'm excited. I'm excited for my day. I'm excited these things. So I've kind of gone from, okay, you fat motherfucker, you need to get your bitch ass up and do this, to, hey, now we're stepping into a new future. Now we're stepping into this. And that transition from running from pain to moving towards pleasure is something that I've taught other people for years, and is really kind of deeply sunk in now. So where it's like, oh, this is what it feels like when that transition happens. So now it's no longer work to keep this stuff going. It's no longer work to do this, because now it's with excitement, with, I look forward to doing it. I look forward to doing something hard. Whereas before I'd been kind of avoiding challenge, because I had failed so many times that more challenge was going to mean more failure, which was going to dig myself even deeper in a hole. But now I've stacked enough wins to where I'm not afraid of that challenge anymore. Now I actively seek things that are harder. I actively seek things to move myself forward. So I made the transition there where it's, again, no longer fearing that pain and instead chasing the pleasure. And I think once you hit that point, and once you kind of make that transition fully, I think that there's some amazing things that happen there. And I think that's where you kind of really, truly can find some great success. And I know for me, it's opened up tremendous doors. Quite frankly, I feel like I'm a different person, like in my interactions with people, stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I'm still a son of a bitch. Like, there's still plenty of people that would tell you that. The old Isaac's still there. But the day-to-day interaction's better. I think more clearly. I feel like I'm more in control of my things. I'm in control of my life now, and that's what's incredible about it. So to kind of wrap this around as a teaching thing, so it's not just about, all about me. Although I guess it is my podcast, which is all about me. But so that's what if I had to sum it up in a few things, figure out what you want to do. And it doesn't need to be a huge, compelling reason to start. It doesn't need to be this huge, compelling thing like, oh my goodness, I'm having this breakdown crisis and I need to do this, and just find a good reason to start something. Whatever it is you want to do, have a good reason for it. Because the issue is that people start stuff because it sounds cool. They don't have a good reason for it. You need to get some pain probably to get started. So maybe something you want to change because you don't like something. You don't like something where you're at. Use that pain to get started. That's going to get you started. Now set the bar super low for what success looks like on any given day. Maybe not your end long-term success, but on any given day, what is that low bar of success? Set that so that you can hit that every day, so you can stack those wins. You can keep getting the wins going. As those wins stack up, you'll find like a deeper understanding of the thing you're doing, whatever that may be. You'll find a deeper understanding. It'll start to become more automatic. There's all kind researchers talk all kinds of stuff, whether it's 21 days, 60 days, 99 days, whatever it is, but it's a lot of days. Stack it up, do the same thing, do it over and over and over again until it becomes a general part of your routine, part of your habits, until it becomes easier to do it than not do it. And once you've kind of got those habits stacked up, once you've got that habit stacked, now start to use that discipline. Use that discipline for other parts of your life. Use that discipline to start to move forward. Say, okay, now that I have this as part of my life, now that I have this habit and this structure as part of who I am and what I do, how can it benefit me? How is it benefiting me? You can start to get some pleasure and some reinforcement out of that, as well as start to branch into other things from it. So like, now, guess what? Now I'm training more. Like, I'm lifting more because I'm doing this cardio, right? I'm eating better because I'm doing this cardio. I'm taking care of myself. I'm getting better sleep because I'm doing this cardio. All this type of stuff. And it's not because of the cardio in itself, but it's because of the positive habit structures. And I'm building from that. And it's been allowed me to get back in shape. It's allowed me to feel great. And now, because of that, I feel more confident. Because of that, I have a better education of myself to speak authentically to you and to myself and to my clients to teach this whole thing. So where I can actually speak from, hey, I did this. Here's where I struggled. Here's where I overcame some adversity. Here's what I chose to do. Maybe I would have done this differently. I can say all that because I can be introspective now and look at what were the wins, what were the losses. That's where you need to go, is you need to push hard enough and long enough, and maybe you need to do the force yourself at the beginning. But you need to push yourself hard enough, long enough to where you have those wins and losses, because that gives you a framework to work from. That makes sense? Whatever it is that you decide that you want to do, that you want to change, this can work for any habit, but it's going to be something that once you've got that handle down, or once you've got that handled, you'll be able to take this now, and I can extrapolate this, and I've used this 2 or 3 other times to build other habits that were not related to fitness at all. They've been related to my business, been related to other structures of my life. I've been able to do all that because I've learned what I've learned from actually doing this stuff. And quite frankly, like, I can teach it to you, I can tell it to you, but I'm going to tell you right now that the best way for you to learn it is going to be to do it yourself and keep learning, keep building, keep structuring. So on that note, I'm going to call this one for today. I appreciate you listening. Hey, if you know anybody that could get some benefit from this, please, please, please send them a link to this podcast. Let them know. If it's helped you, then by all means, I would love a review on the iTunes. All that type of stuff helps me get it out to more people. Also, IsaacWilkins.com is right now not up. It's kind of just a template, but it's coming very soon. So by the time that a lot of you hear this, probably it will be up. And that's the home for my coaching. If you want to work with me directly, that's the home for, you'll get more of my my philosophical musings and thoughts on it, more of like the brain stuff, the structure stuff, as well as some fitness stuff. RelentlessStrengthTraining.com is obviously the gym. If you're local to the Bangor area and you want to work with myself and the coaches there, that's totally fine. Go there, check that stuff out. But IsaacWilkins.com is the place, like the hub for my type of stuff. And, I'd appreciate you checking it out in any way I can help you. So thank you for listening. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you letting me fill up your earbuds, and enjoy your day. Start building a new habit. Start with pain if you need to, but once you can, transition into pleasure. That's going to be where your long-term win is. So above all things, thank you for choosing to be relentless.